Hey there, friends. Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library. And I've got Zephyr with me today in all his colorful splendor because we are celebrating something very special this day and this whole month, really. So we started at the beginning of June, right? Just a few days into the month, the weather is already starting to get really warm, at least if you're here in Michigan. Starting to finally get warm. We're getting lots of sunshine again. The end of school is on the horizon. It's almost there. Summer is upon us. But June also brings with us something else that's really special, which is Pride Month. So Pride Month is a month that we like to recognize and highlight and celebrate people in the LGBTQ community. And one way that you can do that is by reading books that feature queer characters and reading books that are written by queer authors. So I've got a couple books today that I want to talk about. Both of them are very, very different in tone in terms of like what type of books they are, what kind of genres they are. So if you're looking for something very specific, you may be able to find it here. And there are tons and tons of other books too. And these books are not only wonderful to read this month, but they're just great to read in general. So I've actually read both of these prior to this, and I've been like holding on to them because I really wanted to talk about them today while discussing Pride Month. So if you're looking for something different, new, and fun to read, here are a couple for you. So this first book is called Late Bloomer, and this is by Mazey Eddings, Late Bloomer. So this is a contemporary fiction book. It's a romance book. It's a cozy book. So it's a cozy romance book. And it is such a sweet story. It starts with this young woman named Opal who has just won the lottery. Wow, everybody's dream come true, right? Well, maybe not so much for Opal, because Opal is kind of a little bit of a pushover. She's a soft touch. As a soft touch myself, I completely feel for Opal. She has a hard time saying no to people. Same girl, same. So once she wins the lottery, as you can expect, all these people come out of the woodwork, people who normally were not treating her very well before, like an ex-boyfriend and like some coworkers and stuff, and try to get money from her. And she, like I said, she has a hard time saying no. So what is a girl to do? Well, impulsively, she decides the best way to handle this is to purchase a sort of rundown flower farm down in North Carolina. Now, I say rundown. It's not really rundown, but there are some questionable means of like who actually owns this property, and she buys it online, which red flags right there. But that's just the kind of impulsive thing that Opal feels like she needs to do to start over. So she moves down to North Carolina to this flower farm. She is artistic herself, and she wants to sort of have some space and time to be able to start working on her own creations, while also learning about these flowers and how to take care of them and stuff like that. Although there's somebody already living there when she gets there, and that person is Pepper. And remember how I said it's sort of in dispute about who owns the property? Well, Pepper's grandmother originally owned the property, and there's been some like mess with when she passed away who actually gets it. So Opal purchased it, but Pepper sort of still owns it. So what they decide to do, even though they're both kind of angry with each other and frustrated, they decide to try to get the flower place up and running together. Even though they don't really get along, they're very, very different. So they're living together in this house. They're trying to get this flower farm back up and running. And as you can imagine, there are sparks fly, anger, and then some other sparks as well. So like I said, this is a love story. It is a romance. It is a beautifully written story. I really loved the development between the characters. Like, even though this is very story driven in terms of like the stuff that's going on, it's also very character driven too. Like Opal and the way she grows as a character to go from somebody who, like I said, is a little bit of a pushover, and really learning to respect herself and value herself and learn to say no. But also Pepper has a lot of anxiety that she deals with as well as some neurodiversity as well, which I thought was fantastic rep in this book. If you're looking for a really great neurodiverse rep, Pepper is an amazing character, and watching them grow and learn together was just absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for a sweet, cozy romance book, Late Bloomer might be the one for you. Now, the next one couldn't be more different if we tried to make it. And this is Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. So this is a mystery slash thriller slash horror book by the infamous Chuck Tingle. I've talked about Chuck Tingle before. I'm going to just briefly touch on him again right now. Chuck Tingle, basically, we don't know who he is as an author. He is, I'm trying to see if I've got a picture of him here. Yeah, so the picture of Chuck Tingle on the internet is of a person with the bag over their head. It says "Love is Real" on the bag, by the way. Nobody knows who he is. And prior to writing this book and his previous book, he has written dozens and dozens and dozens of really short, hilarious erotica books. I'm not going to mention any of the titles now. I'm not going to recommend that you look them up, at least if you're at work. They are not safe titles for work. But if you're home and you need a hilarious pick-me-up and you want to read some funny, like, tongue-in-cheek titles that will just make you laugh, look up some of his books, some of his ebooks, because they are super funny. Anyway, a couple years ago, he started publishing horror books through a mainline publisher, and this is his second one. There is a third one coming out next month. This second one, Bury Your Gaze, the title is named after a trope in media when it says bury your gaze, when a lot of times, especially back in the day, it's a little better now, but back in the day, whenever there was a gay character in a movie, TV, film, whatever, and they got killed off, that was the bury your gaze trope, pretty much. And that happened a lot more frequently. It doesn't happen as much now. It's getting better, but it does still exist. Anyway, Misha is he is a TV writer in Hollywood, and he has this really popular show. And the executives have just told him in the beginning of this that he has to kill off his two characters, which are there's been a lot of tension between the characters, and he wanted it to culminate in a relationship, and they want him to kill the characters off. Misha refuses. They're like, they're my characters, this is my show, this is my baby, I'm not giving into this trope. And he leaves. But after that, he starts to get really harassed by the studio, who like give him ultimatums, like, you know, you need to do this, we're going to sue, this or that. But also some other really freaky things start happening. He starts getting stalked, harassed, terrorized by characters from his own writing. Like characters in previous shows and previous movies and previous books and stuff that he's written are somehow come to life and coming after him. And he has to get to the bottom of that and figure out what is real, what isn't real. Is he going crazy, or is there something else nefarious going on with all this? So Chuck Tingle, if you're not familiar, which you probably are not if you're a totally normal and not unhinged person, you're probably not familiar with his short erotica books, but you've maybe read his previous horror book, Camp Damascus. So if you've read that book, you'll know the kind of writing that he does is very, very deep, but also it's very, very, he laces a lot of humor and like dry humor in there as well. So and also he's very, very good at like presenting issues and presenting social issues within his story without it making it feel like you're being beaten over the head with it. So I thought this book was absolutely phenomenal. I love Chuck Tingle. Camp Damascus was an amazing book. I love this book. I can't wait for his next book that comes out next month. And it's just a fantastic story. It's very unique. If you're looking for like a really spooky sort of horror book, but also a bit of a mystery, a bit of a thriller with some social commentary really well done thrown in, bury your gaze. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that these books sound interesting or intriguing to you. If so, please feel free to come check them out from Farmington Community Library. And also, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.